not me sitting over the window to get better light, and because I'm too lazy to stand up, and then I think it's too bright. Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am filming my February wrap up. It's hell every month, but let's do it. In February it was Blackathon and I chose to read only black books the whole month. So of course I did the challenges for the team I was on, which was team sci-fi fantasy, and then I also just read other black books outside of challenges. I put 11 books on my TBR, but I managed to read 15, so that was great, and I think I did really well. It was a really good reader month. I was very consistent with my reading like every day as many pages that I had planned to, except for like a few days. Oh my god, my sweater is the wrong way. I fixed it, which means in theory I just stripped in front of the camera, so that is nice to think about. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, the curtain is in the way. Okay, so what was I saying? I had a pretty good reading month. I read consistently every day except like a few days when I procrastinated school stuff. So that was great. Let's talk about the books I read. I hate using ages because my voice always hurts from these. As always, I did God of Info Season, which is my own seasonal reading challenge in February, and all those were also, of course, black books. I have already posted my God of Info Season TBR for winter, and February was winter, so I don't share my thoughts twice because that just takes a lot of time, but I will mention the books I read for that. I read Unkindness of Ghosts by River Solomon, and I read The Sound of Stars by Alicia Dow, Legendborn by Tracy Deon, and They're Just These by Nick Stone. Those 4 books and my thoughts on them is in my God of Info Season wrap up. I will leave a link down below if you're interested in thoughts on them and the other books I read for God of Info Season. Now onto the books that I read that I'm gonna talk about. I'm sorry. The first one being The Lesson by Cadwell Turnbull. This one was the group book for Team Sci-Fi Fantasy for Blackathon. My voice is dying. I don't know why. It's too early in the morning for this. That's probably why. And I read a lot of like alien books. Not a lot. Okay, I read like 3 alien books. I'm looking at my books. I don't even remember. It was a lot because considering that I never almost read alien books, it was a lot. So listen to this on the audiobook because yeah, I always listen to audiobook. I don't know why I was trying to say a reason. Anyway, this is basically set on the Virgin Isles, and it is a first contact story where like we follow this set of characters before the aliens land there, and then we follow them afterwards and see how the aliens has integrated kinda in the society, and see how people accept them or they don't accept them. Mostly they don't accept them, and see how people react to them and what the aliens then do in repercussion to that. And that's basically what it's about, but I don't want to say more because spoilers, but basically it was kind of crazy. It was a lot of fun. It was very, very interesting, very like, I would say twisty and dark and horrific, but also very fascinating and just very interesting to follow these very, I would say, grounded characters and see how these aliens arriving affected all of them, and I just really enjoyed it. Okay, I was gonna say on the edge of my seat listening to it. I don't like that expression, but like I was literally sitting on the bus and I was just like, oh my god, what is going on? And I was just like cleaning up my work because I listened to audiobook then, and I was just like, holy shit, this is crazy. And it was just so much fun, but also of course I would say a positive book because it was very tragic too. I feel like hard to talk about because also I don't have brain cells, but overall it was great, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And I'm sorry if I'm a bit short, but also it's great because then I don't suffer as much in editing. So yay, let's move on. I then read Who First Death by Nnedi Okorafor. This one I read for one of the challenges, but now I can't recall them. I'm so sorry. Either way, I think it was the one who had like that embodies black spiritualism or is close to the spirit world. It was something like that. That was the challenge for this one. And what was even this about? Oh my god, it's so long ago since I read this. My brain cannot function. So this follows Anya, who grows up as an outcast, and she is also has these powers, but no one wants to teach her because she is a woman. And then eventually they're like, shit, we need to teach her because she's too powerful. And it also talks about like the chosen that will like change things because there's this one dude going around being very bad. That was horrible. I'm very sorry. I'm trying to read behind, but like, yeah. So basically, she's a child born of rape too. Her mother was raped, and it is her father who is like trying to kill her because she has powers. It is set in a post-apocalyptic Sudan, and where the Nuvo people press the dark skin Okeke, and she is a Okeke if I remember correctly. Anya is very much in the minority of like everything. Like, she has these powers, but no one wants to teach her because she's not a man. She's also born out of rape, and like people really don't like the people that goes around raping people, because they go around and do this a lot. So people really hate her for that, even though she, of course, cannot help this. Oh my god. So she's in very much feel a lot of hate and outcast all the time. And there's very many elements in this, like oppression, but also like sexism, and how women need to do certain things to like their bodies, to please men, or to be seem pure and etc. That is also like a very heavy theme, like for example, like in sexual encounters, etc. And then of course just that she has cool powers and going out and growing on her own and trying to, you know, defeat her father and also finding her own voice, etc. She also has like this friend group, and I thought they were all very interesting dynamics between all of them, learning more about them. I didn't think they were gonna be... I need another pillow. Guess I can't sit straight. I didn't think there would be as much in story as there were, and then when they went out on this thing, they were all there, and I was just like, oh my god, I like this, but then it kind of went to hell, but that is fine. It's really sad. The magic was very, very interesting. It was very like different from all the other kinds of magic I read, I think, and I think the end was sad, but also kind of expected, because we are being told how it's gonna end all along. It also says behind it that it will be an HBO major television series, and I am 100% watching that. I think it will be so interesting to see this all visualized instead of like reading it. But yeah, overall it was fun. I liked writing, I liked the book, and I liked all the things happening. Not like I liked all the things happening, because it was quite tragic and sad, but it was a good book. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I gave basically everything 4 out of 5 stars, so it shouldn't really be a surprise. My reviews are going well today, I'm sorry. I then read Rosewater by Tate Thompson. This is another alien story, and it is set in Nigeria in 2066. The hopeful and helpless congregate around an alien biodome seeking salvation. Rosewater is the town on the edge. Wow. So basically, this alien big thing landed, and then town grew around it, and then every year it releases like this shit so people kind of heal. So like if you have cancer and you're close by, when it releases, I was gonna say shit because I don't remember what it was, you heal, which is nice. But also, even before that, we have the main character who can also read minds. So he has powers and can read minds, and he kind of works for like this organization that just, I was gonna say, took him, and then he works for them to like do investigations and stuff, because he can read minds, so that's pretty useful. And the story is also told like in the past, in 2 different pasts and a present. So you see him in the present, in the different conflicts there, what's going to happen, and then like 2 different pasts, one like seeing when he found out about his powers, and then one later when he does this one case with his powers. I thought it was very interesting. I'm itching. I was interested always to learn about the different aliens and what they want for humans, etc. It's really interesting because he has powers, and interesting to see what he would do with them, what he can do with them. Overall, it was this, I think, this battle thing in the end, and I was very confused what was happening, because it was very much like in the mind more like than hiya in real life. So I thought it was a bit confusing what was happening sometimes, maybe because I just lost it. But yeah, I was a bit confused, but I'm a confused person, so like maybe it's clever for someone else. But I wouldn't say the book was bad because of that by any means. It was very fun and interesting, and I just wanted to know the mystery of it all. It is the first one in a trilogy, however, so it's not wrapped up. Like, we don't really get answers for everything that's going on, and we don't really know what's going to happen to the main character, etc. I said main character. Blah, blah, blah. Also lost my ability to speak. Help. We don't know what really happened to him, I feel like. I don't even remember. Oh my god, what is happening to my brain? I am, of course, going to continue the series, and I'm excited to see where we wrap up. And I feel like, again, my reviews suck, but it's fine. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. That's go to the next one. I'm really sorry. And the next book I read for Blackathon was Yesterday is History by Kosoko Jackson. This one I read for the challenge where you had to have a time travel element, and this one definitely does. And this one, I will say at once, was very disappointing. I did not give this 4 stars. But yeah, it basically follows, what's the main character's name? Andre. And he gets a time travel ability after he gets a organ from the liver because he had cancer and he was dying, but then he gets a liver transplant, and that transplant gives him the ability to time travel because it came from a family of time travelers, and he's sent back in 1969 where he meets this guy named Michael. So he kind of gets a thing with Michael, but then also in that family that could time travel, he gets these lessons to, you know, learn to time travel. They have a son named Blake, and they can also get a thing. So it's like a little triangle drama, and Andre has to choose between the past and the present, and it all sounds really cool, but in the end it wasn't. Like, I think about this and I'm so sad that I didn't like it that much, because it is really very much the writing. The writing ruined kind of the whole book for me, because it just felt so flat and weird. First of all, it's like they have a conversation and then it's like later they pretend they didn't have the conversation, so they kind of have the same conversation several times, and that felt so weird to me. I was just like reading and I was just like, wait, didn't we already talk about this and have this exact same convo another time, just like in a kind of different way? And also him having a thing with these dudes, I just didn't get, because they literally talk to each other like 4 times, and I was just like, now I love them, and I was like, what? Because it's fine. I can get on behind Insta love, seeing someone and be like, okay, I'm gonna marry them, fine. But they didn't like have any chemistry whatsoever. It was very frustrating for me to think he could have a thing with, for example, Michael, when they had like one conversation, and I just couldn't get behind it. The writing was not convincing enough for me to believe that these people were in love, and thereby I didn't care about the relationships, and since I didn't care about the relationships, it was the main focus of the story, I was annoyed. Also, the time travel element was cool, and I did like the idea of like a family of time travelers. But then these other things happen that I don't want to spoil, but in the end, and it was so annoying because then everything just meant nothing, and I was just like, why did you do this? Why was this the way you chose to go with this story? And that annoyed me too. I wish in general we just got more time, for example, with Michael, because I feel like we barely got any time with him, and thereby I didn't care for him, and I really itch here, and I'm sorry. I just wish maybe the book was longer, maybe like 100 pages longer, to get more time with all these characters and different elements of the story, because we really jump really fast throughout the events. And again, I guess I didn't like, you know, I said I didn't like the writing because it felt repetitive sometimes, but also just because they repeated some conversations, but also just the dialogues was so weird sometimes, like how they spoke to each other. I was reading it and I was just like, is this how people speak? Because it was weird. It was like a disconnect between how they were speaking and what they were saying to each other, and I didn't like that either. So I'm very, very negative right now, but I do like that it was, of course, queer. The author said he wanted to write a story where a black teen could be the main love interest between, in a love triangle, like in a love drama, and he did that, and I of course appreciate that. I can see that is important and a good story to have, but the story itself just wasn't strong enough for me. But like, I appreciate some parts. I like Andre. It was sad that he had cancer. I liked his family, and I did like prefer Blake, I think, but that was only because I didn't like Michael because we saw so little of him, and every time it was like annoying. So I'm sorry, Michael. But yeah, I ended up giving it like 3 out of 5 stars, but I would say it's like a bit more, like maybe 2.5, but like 3 is fine. It's fine. So yeah, I just wish also like we got more time with the time travel parts as well. Like, it was kind of just there. I guess I just wish everything was more expanded and explored upon, and the dialogues weren't so awkward. That's it. That's all I wanted. But yeah, sorry for being so very negative. I'm sorry, book. I really wanted to love you, but I just didn't. But I did enjoy some aspects. So that is good. I then read The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. This one was the book of the month for Faes and Gaze, which is a book club I am co-hosting where we read queer, fantasy or sci-fi every single month. And the live show have not been yet, but calculate when this video is gonna go up. I think the live show is gonna be on the same day that this will go up, and therefore it has already aired actually, because this will probably be up after the live show. Considering that, go and watch the live show. I don't know how it went because this is past Sandra, but go watch it. So that is funny. But yeah, basically of the 380 reality that has been unlocked, Kara is dead in all but 8. So this one follows Kara, who travels in different parallel universes. And basically the concept in this world is that she can travel to the worlds where she is dead. And if she goes into a world where she's not dead, then she dies herself. So yeah, it's very interesting. It's a reason why she was hired for this. It's very sad to find out why she is dead in so many in her life. But I thought that this was set on Earth, like our world, because they call it Earth. But the Earth they live on is very different from our planet. Like, it's not the same system, not the same cities. It's not like any, like, it's completely sci-fi. Oh, like made up, I guess. And I didn't expect that because I thought we were on our planet, but we weren't, which was like interesting. But I feel like that also made the story a bit of a disconnect, because since the system and like where we were living in different cities and like the people ruling were so different, it made it so distant and even more confused of the story. Because then I feel like if she went to a different parallel universe and it was different from where she was living, and we knew that place already, we would see the ultimate differences at once. But now it was like 2 different places, and then we had to wrap our head around that. So that was the thing. I did enjoy it a lot though. I enjoyed the concepts of like, you know, parallel universes, her traveling into them. What else? I liked the affirmative romance, and I did like how the story wrapped up. But it was also weird sometimes. It was a bit confusing in the beginning, that's fine, but like after you got into it. But I meant it was weird sometimes with like when she went into this one place and then she was just there and did some stuff, and I thought that was whole scenario was just so weird. I was just like, what are you doing? But yeah, there are reveals and there are sad parts, and overall I think the most sad part is like thinking that she's dead in so many universes. Because she's really not in a privileged position at all, and she's so unlucky that she always ends up dying. And it's just not unlucky even, but just like if she was just born somewhere else or as someone else, then it wouldn't be like that. And I think like that was the most interesting part about it for me, because just thinking that is like a likeliness in our world too, being born as someone and being born as someone else. How much more likely are you to be dead by a certain age? And it's not good at all, of course, but it's just very interesting. I don't know why that caught me so much, but I thought a lot about it. It's just some certain circumstances in life can change your whole life, but it's very unlikely it will happen, kinda. It made me think about my effect upon my own life. I don't know why. It's so weird. But yeah, the plot was fun overall, but overall, like, I wouldn't say it was like amazing and everything I ever wanted in a book, but it was interesting, definitely very different kind of sci-fi book, and I did really enjoy it, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And a lot of things I said we'll probably discuss in the live show, and I think that will be an interesting discussion because I don't come up with any more to say. Also, after when I added this, I was like, why didn't I say that and that? Easy to say to future Sandra, huh? Future Sandra, I think she's so smart. I'm sorry, I'm talking about myself in the third person. I don't know. I ruined myself. So the next book I read was The Broken Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. This one is the second book in the Inheritance trilogy. So the first book was 100,000 Kingdoms, and it's basically a god punk where the gods are being kind of controlled by the humans, and then this one character helps them, and then here the gods are free. I don't know if that's a spoiler, but I guess we're just rolling with it. Here the relationship with the humans and the gods are completely different from in the first book, and I think I really like the difference, like what N.K. Jemisin set up with the difference relationship. That was a weird sentence. We follow Ori Shoot, a blind artist who takes in the strange homeless man on an impulse. If you read the first book, you kind of know who this man is at once, but it's very interesting to see this character in a totally different setting than from the first book. And I just really enjoyed it. I enjoyed how the story escalates. I enjoy seeing how humans are so stupid and how they now act since the relationship is so different than from the first book with the gods. I just enjoy the characters and just seeing the plot escalate, because like someone somehow is murdering godlings, leaving their desecrated bodies all over the city, and I'm just like, You say what? So it's just very interesting. Also the main character with her magic, seeing but not seeing, and it's just very, very good. I'll give it like 4 or 5 stars, and it was solid, very solid. What else did I expect for Kim Jemison? I then read The Everlasting Rose by Danielle Clayton. I think I really lived off to like Team Sci-Fi Fantasy this month, by the way. Like unintentionally, I read 1 contemporary and the rest was sci-fi and fantasy. That's great work by me. But yeah, this one is a sequel to the Bells, which was the first book in the series. And the Bells, basically, we are in this dystopia world where the bells control all the beauty. They can kind of change the appearances of people. So like, for example, if you don't go to them, your skin turns kind of gray and your hair dies basically. So you need to go to them to look decent in the society, and if you don't, then you're like shunned upon. The main character Camille is Rose in like a new generation, and they go out and she finds a lot of different secrets and shit about the bells and beauty in society and what functions behind in the monarchy, and just many different things are revealed. The first book was so much fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I was so curious to what was really going on and the secrets behind the bells and everything. Here, on the other hand, I think the story takes a little, I was gonna say dip, just because now you're not in this place where everything is being revealed, kind of mystery, trying to live the life she always wanted. Now she's at the place where she knows that things are wrong already, which is like a good step, which is a lot of like on the run kind of story. And then in the end, when they're gonna do this thing, it is too easy, way too easy. I'm just like, why didn't I just do this all along? It was just very convenient and easy in the end, and I was just, I would say, very disappointed with it. I think there's just this mystery aspect though of like the bells still, and that we did find out, and I'm very curious to see how it will be, because I think it will be a 3rd book. I'm very curious to see how that would play out in the 3rd book, because while they did fix one thing, there's still the whole idea of beauty in the society that I think they need to remedy or talk about at least. I am curious to see how that would play out in the 3rd book. I think it's gonna be a 3rd book, so yeah. But overall, I just think this could have been so much more, but it wasn't. The writing is very good though, and I do enjoy the characters. I just think like overall it just felt very underwhelming, considering that it was so high stakes and so many things happening. It was just too easy. It was sad. So I ended up giving that 3 out of 5 stars. Then I finally read The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I ticked off one of the other fantasies I wanted to read for this year, together with like The Broken Kingdoms and this, and even one more this month. So I'm on it. I read 3 books on my list and I'm so happy. So this one follows, oh my god, Tau. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it follows Tau, whose father gets killed and he wants revenge basically. So he goes out to train to become a very good fighter, so he can kill the people that killed his father or were responsible for his father's death. But the thing is that Tau, however you pronounce his name, I'm really sorry, is, well, I'm gonna find like it was like a drawing in the beginning where like we could see the system. Tau is a lesser, so there is like a whole system of people, but he's a lesser, who basically they are weaker and smaller than like the nobles and high nobles and royals, etc. So which are like stronger and bigger, etc. And they can also get enchanted by magic and stuff. So being a lesser and trying to beat them, which was responsible for his father, that is very difficult. And Tau is, I was gonna say, so intense because by training and working out, and he just becomes like insane. I was literally sitting here just like reading about him working out, screaming, because it was so intense. And I was just like, you need a hug and some therapy. And yeah, I love it when characters are like so extra and you cannot do anything to stop them, and it's just the best thing. I just love seeing what does make this main character different from all the other characters around them, and it just showed so well. I don't know how to describe it. He was just so intense, and I love things like that. It's like, I don't know even what to call that trope, but it's like being insane trope, doing everything to get what you want. Oh my god, I found the thing, by the way. But yeah, the magic here was so interesting as well. Like, in the beginning it was confusing. They didn't really like sit down and explain it, which I think is fine in books. Like, you don't always need a sit down and be like, let's ask 20 questions. I think like it's fine in fantasies, and this was the case with this one, that you just get the magic as we go. And that's what kind of happened with me. I don't know, maybe they explained it better and I just missed it. But like overall, like what we found out about magic when we did, it just made sense, and I didn't mind waiting for my brain to make it make sense. I don't know how to describe it. Like that's what I usually do in fantasies. If I don't know what's going on, I just keep reading, and then eventually it all clicks together, and it's the best feeling when it does. And I understood everything after a while. I was just very confused in the beginning because like they had to like trap people, and there was circles, and it was enchantments and different things, and I was just like, so I'm just, yeah, it was a lot. And it didn't really, as I said, like he doesn't use magic, so it's not like a constant in his life, but it's like on the outside I was just like, what is going on right now? What is this? What is going on? What are they describing? But when it made sense, it was just so cool and also kind of sad. And yeah, they're also like in this war, which is why like he's training to be a soldier in the war. I am curious to see the secrets behind, like, I don't know how to describe like the war and how it will develop, and like if they need to come together for reasons. I don't know. That was not a spoiler at all, but like this is just a theory I have. But overall, it was just so good. It was so much fun and darkness and tragic, but so much fun. And I'm very excited to pick up the sequel when it comes out in this height in the UK. I will pick it up. I think it's like in June, so I'm ready to read it this year. And then read the third book. I think it's a trilogy, and it was so good. Okay, so 4 out of 5 stars, very much recommend. If anything of what I just said sounds interesting, I can't describe things though, so it's kind of a bummer, isn't it? I then also read Lakewood by Megan Giddings, and this one I listened to an audiobook. I finished 3 audiobooks because I listened to Unkindness of Ghosts on audiobook too, and I needed another one, and this one I think was the group book for Team Thriller Horror for Blackathon, so that was why I picked that one. And I wanted to read another group book, and this one was on Audible, so I picked it up. And oh sorry, I don't know how to describe this. It was so weird. Oh my god, and I lied and said I only read one contemporary. I read 2, so yeah, not a contemporary, but like not fantasy then. That's what you call it, right? So this one follows Lena, whose grandmother has just died, and her mother has a lot of health problems, so she needs to help her. She doesn't really have money for it, so she gets contacted by Lakewood, which is this organization that will pay a lot of money to, well, what does it say to participate in a secret program. It says an eye drop that makes brown eyes blue, a medication that could be a cure for dementia, golden pills promise to make all bad thoughts go away. And then it's just this whole experiment that she's paid for by a lot, and she goes through a lot there, and it is intense. It is scary. I was frightened for what was happening to Lena. I was hoping she would be okay. It was definitely very, very fascinating, but also, I just wanted, I guess, more resolution in the end, because it ends very open, which I guess it's a normal thing for horror thrillers. I feel like it always ends a bit open. But in the end, on the synopsis, it says, proactive and thrilling, Lakewood is a breathtaking novel that takes an unflinching look at the moral dilemmas many working-class families face, and a horror that has been forced on black bodies in the name of science. And I think that is very much true, and very much interesting to see the steps a person has to take to get money to take care of them, but also losing so much on the way, and is it worth it? It can be really hard to answer that question, and it's just very important to read about these experiences, but also just like the whole mystery of it all, which is very interesting. It's very twisty. I was like literally thinking the whole way. The book made me question, would I do this for money? Would I go through this if I really had to? And I think the book does a very good job with that, like making you question things too. And I think if a book does that, it's a good book. So yeah, I really recommend it. It was very good pick for the group book for the club, and I'm excited that I got to get to another one. So yeah, for that. And I want a physical copy of this. Also the lesson, because they're pretty books and I need them. But other books are expensive, okay? So bear with me. So the next book that I read was The Killing Moon, and this one I ticked off also on my list of adult fantasy books I want to read, and I'm happy. So this one is the first book in the Dreamblood duology, and I don't know how to describe this. I'm lying down. I'm giving up on life. How to describe this book? So I read it. I really enjoyed it. But how to describe this book? So basically, we are in the city of Guyare, which I do not know how to pronounce. I'm really sorry. And they have these priests. They are priests of the dream goddess. And they do this is the harder magic of sleeping mind and use it to heal, soothe, and kill those judged corrupt. So we follow Gatherer Iru, who is questioning his faith a lot right now because he did this big sin, but also now he needs to protect the woman he was sent to kill because she says to him that Sun is like, oh, I never thought about this before, and questions his whole faith. And there's also this person going around killing people, and the woman that is sent to kill, that I now of course have forgotten the name of, is like also an ambassador, and she's out with very important information about what is happening in the city. And they kind of work together, and then there's corruption, and there is maybe war coming, and then there's also like these gatherers of dreams, dream blood, and different things. So overall, it's a lot. You read it, you get it, explaining it, choking on myself, it works. But I very much enjoyed this book. I enjoyed, for example, the Broken Kingdoms more, but it's not like a competition. But I enjoyed this a lot. I really think it was an interesting story, as per usual with Anka Jamison. Very original. I love following the different characters and seeing all the elements come together. And the magic is always super fascinating. Again, this is not also a book where it's like sitting down, let's explain the magic. It's just like you have to go with it and you get it. Okay, I enjoyed all the characters and I enjoyed her writing. I don't know what more to tell you, okay? Anka Jamison is just such a solid author. I have belief in every single book I go in and read by her. They are always super good. And overall, I enjoy myself. I'm excited to not lose my voice and to read a sequel to see what the story will happen next. Like, it kind of wrapped up, but it's definitely more corruption to be found. But it was also a sad ending. So I'm excited to see maybe the sequel be maybe about different characters, just like it was in, for example, Broken Kingdoms. It was following different characters than in the first one, but still in the same world. But yeah, I want to see more of the magic system. I don't know, I always like a little story where like a priest, for whatever they are a priest for, questions their faith. I don't know, questions of faith are very interesting to me, even though I don't have any faith myself, but it's very interesting to read about, because I guess it's just the idea of being erupted and taken from everything you believed in, and then like your whole life you need to find out what your life will mean after that. I guess I like the whole idea of that. I always enjoyed those kinds of stories in general because it's very interesting to see the characters turn around. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, I like those elements, even though like I wrapped up in a different way here, I guess. I was thinking. But yeah, I give it 4 out of 5 stars again. So yeah, not really a surprise. And the last book I read for February was A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Rosanna A. Brown. And this one was so good. Okay, it was so good. I knew I was being excited for it, but it just, yeah, it is a YA fantasy. And it had like a lot of great YA elements, and it just took them all and made it amazing. Okay, I don't know how to describe it, but I just think it was so solid. Like, it's just this setup that like it's not like exactly the same as anything else, but I don't know how to describe how like it is this setup, and you could call it a typical YA fantasy, but it does it so well. Like, and it does it originally and well. I don't know how to tell you the difference, but like I read another YA fantasy in January, and it was just like I had it for a while and it was a bit old, not that that matters, and it had all the elements of a normal YA fantasy, but it was just written so dense and boring and everything was predictable, so I didn't like that. And that can happen in every YA fantasy I go into, because I have like this fear of this now, and it can either turn out like that one or it can turn out like this one. Like, yes, it does have elements, but it just does it in a way that's so fun, and it makes me fall in love with YA fantasy all over again. And I feel like I was dashing a lot of YA. I do love YA. I read YA all the time. Like, it's mostly what I read. That's not what I meant at all. I just mean like that some days they feel a bit repetitive, but here it was just like, that was a sound. Either way. So it follows, I need to open this even though I did finish this yesterday, so I'm sorry. It follows 2 point of views. We have Malik, who with his sisters comes to Syrian, which is the city, and then Nadia is taken by these vengeful spirits. He needs to kill the princess Karina of Syrian in exchange for Nadia's freedom. Karina, on the other hand, has deadly aspirations of her own. Her mother just was assassinated, and she wants to do this ritual of resurrection to bring her back. Then she needs to kill for the heart of the king, and they are doing this tournament right now, and in the tournament she sets the price that if you win, you get to marry her, and thereby the person she marries will have the heart of the king, thereby she can do the ritual. And then Malik, to get closer to Princess, enters this tournament by just magic and being awesome. So if he wins, then you know he'll be the king, but she wants to kill him, then but he has to kill her. Yay. So yeah, I didn't know, by the way, of any of this setup going into it. It says all in the synopsis, so I don't really spoil you, but I didn't know anything going in, and I think that's the best way to go in, so I'd kind of just ruin that experience for you if you watching this. But I just really recommend going in completely blind sometimes. It's just so great. I don't think I read the synopsis of any of these books before picking it up, and I love that. I love that for me. How did I know I was going to enjoy them? I just have a feeling, apparently. I read a bit of them, have a feeling what they will be about, but I don't really read the synopsis all the way out. And I didn't do that for this one either. I just saw the cover and I was like, why fantasy? Yay. No regrets to that, by the way. But yeah, just knowing it says all in synopsis, but like seeing it played out without knowing anything, I was just like, oh my god, she's gonna want to kill that person. Oh my god, he has to kill her. And it is just great. It is, as I said before, like not a usual, like the two main characters has to kill each other, but I feel like the author didn't overdo it here, because I don't know how to decide this to you, but you know they're not gonna kill each other. Like, that's not a spoiler, you know, okay? They're the two POV characters. None of them are gonna kill the other one. Hello. It would have been insane if that had happened, but it's just not overdone. I don't know how to describe it. It's not like you feel like, oh my god, but he's not gonna do it anyway, because it just feels so natural for them for when they realize certain things and the certain events happening. It just I don't know how to describe it. It was just so good, okay? I am losing my ability to speak. Just setting this setup for the story, these characters interacting, the feeling of family, the cool magic, the cool world, the different things that were revealed. It was all great. My main complaint is a certain, like, the assassination happened, so there was a traitor, and I just knew who it was, and it was right, and I was so sad about it because I wanted it myself not to be correct, because not only was it a bit typical that this person was the guilty one, but I wanted the character to be good, because I felt like another character deserved that character to be good. That is what I meant, because yeah, but they weren't. And they were mean, so who cares? But I'm so excited for the sequel. I actually don't know what's gonna happen, kinda. Like, there is this setup for things, and I feel like I'm kinda scared of a drag, but I also have now the full belief that the author can make it great and like really surprise me. It just, oh my god, here's my bookmark. I couldn't find it yesterday. I just feel like it was this perfect setup, and how it all came together. It just felt so satisfying and so good and so natural. I don't know how to describe it. I guess I'm using the word natural because I think it felt like yesterday's history where it all felt unnatural. It just like devolved out of nowhere, but here it just flowed so nice, and I just really liked it. I don't know, I should have maybe had this in my February favorites as like top fame almost, because it was just so good. And I gave it 4 out of 5 stars as per usual. I need a certain feeling to give 5, but it was good, and I feel like the next books really will set, I think it's going to be a trilogy, will set the tone of a lot of things. I don't know what I'm saying. I didn't even know how to describe why I really like this. Like, I don't know like the right sentences to form the words to really describe it. So we were just roll with that. That was it for all the books I read in February. We have been here forever. My voice is dying as per usual. Leave a scarf emoji down below if you like this video. I really enjoyed this month of only reading Black stories. And of course I will keep reading Black stories going forward, just not like all the books in one month. There's so many good elements in them. And like even added to what, like for example, white books have, even added different elements and themes that only Black people can write well, I feel like. And like the elements added, the commentary and just the different magic and worlds, it feels vastly different, and it's very important to notice that and read it, enjoy it too, because there's so much good out there, and this is just like, I'm so happy about my picks, but there's so many more I want to read, and I'm so excited for the future to read so much more goodness. Okay, I don't know how it works, apparently. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and you will see me soon in a new one. Bye!